Have you lost your job? Have you lost a loved one? Are you exhausted caring for your parents, for your kids? Well, you can find immediate relief when you read Sheila Mac's new #1 bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps. It contains the Boots formula to move from rock bottom back into action in any situation, especially right now. If life has knocked you down, pick yourself up with Bootstraps and Bra Straps. Get your copy at www.sheilamac.com today.
Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio, Mondays at 1 and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila.
Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and solutions to help you rebuild, reinvent, and reboot your life on your terms. I'm Sheila Mac, your host, and today we have special guest, Natalia Levey. She is the Happy Restaurateur and co-owner of Restaurants Speaks Clam Bar and the upcoming Central Park St. Pete Food Hall. She infuses a culture of wellness and a message of positivity in order to successfully increase employee retention, profits, and overall healthy, happy teams with happy customers and a healthy community. Filling bellies, feeding souls, and formulating the future. Natalia, originally from Russia, has extensive international culinary and wellness experience, having traveled to over 40 countries, taught and cooked all over the world. She lives in Tampa with her daughter and husband. All right, welcome to the show, Natalia.
Oh, thank you so much, Sheila. It's a pleasure. And hello, everybody who is watching and listening.
Yes, and you know, my show, this show is related to my latest book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And this year, globally, we have had some situations. So I would love to hear a story about how maybe you got through a tough situation in your business or personal life.
Oh, well, first of all, I love the title of your book. And again, thanks for having me on the show. And oh my gosh, has this year been a hurricane and a half for us. And I've lived through hurricanes living in Florida. So just this year in itself has presented a lot of challenging opportunities for us. As you had mentioned, there are 2 family restaurants that we currently have. We had to close, and we had to sort of rediscover what the genius within our teams and within ourselves, and find that power, find that tenacity to get through this situation. So I'm not sure if this one tops everything that I've been through in life, but this is like in the top 3 probably.
Yes, it was so interesting. So what things did you do as a business leader in order to keep going through this pandemic?
Well, as a business leader, let me backtrack. Let me take you back to how I got to this situation. So as you had mentioned, I am originally from Russia, and I grew up in Moscow, and I got to New York in 1999, 2000. And in New York, I had an opportunity to go through a culinary school. In 2001, right after 9/11. So that was like, I was in the city when that was happening. So then we had to wait for the dust to settle literally downtown for me to start school. And I go through the culinary school, and I ended up getting an amazing internship and then another amazing internship, and got hired from the internship. But about 2 to 3 months into my work, I had to quit and I had to leave the industry. I had some serious health issues that just didn't allow me to continue in the industry. And I spent a decade being a mom, finding sort of myself or losing myself, and then finding myself and then losing myself again. And then about a decade ago, I kind of started getting into studying health and wellness. And through that, I got all kinds of certifications through health coaching and nutrition, and I started culinary wellness education company. And I published a book, and I've given talks and collaborated with medical professionals. But then 2.5 years ago, the restaurant industry pulled me back in. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I ended up in this position. So, but having had that decade of wellness and personal development study, I feel like that was the key that has given me the energy and the drive to keep everybody motivated and keep everybody going. I started a newsletter, Mindful Monday Minute. I would come in and I would teach all the different breathing techniques to my teams, and just staying that positive force that really kept them motivated to keep going.
Oh, I love that. And, it's so important as a leader in your home, in your business, how you show up, who you're being in all you're doing makes all the difference. And the reality is that it's very easy when we're going through like the 9/11, when you just started school, and then our situation now and everything else that happens in life, when we're able to be calm and have the mindfulness to get kind of grounded a little bit before we start taking action, then we can lead with a sense of peace instead of there's this thing that happens where we get into survival mode, and then we're not thinking straight. So that's when we need to eat healthier and take care of ourselves and remember to be positive when we want to. We're freaking out and we're in fear. So it does make a huge difference when we're able to come to things in a place of peace and groundedness in who we're being and all we're doing. That's great. Now, you mentioned you have a child, I think, or you're a mom?
Yes. So I'm a mom. I have a 16-year-old daughter who, at the age of 14, actually even helped us to open one of the locations of the restaurant. And my husband's an entrepreneur, so she grew up with that in the business mindset family, and we dragged her all over the world with us. So she's got to experience many different things from many different countries. She's been to Africa and Australia and New Zealand and through Europe, and she's definitely has that interesting view of the world and of life at this age.
That is so beautiful and very important. Parents who are listening, or if you're have a niece or a nephew even, when you involve the children in what you're doing in work somehow, some way, they are going to learn how to actually be in the real world when they grow up, because they don't really teach that much about life experience until after you graduate school. I mean, my children, I had 5 gift stores and I raised these 6 children, 3 of mine, 3 I adopted. And we went through every aspect of running a gift store. I had 5 of these stores, and the kids would participate. We'd go buy things together for the store. They would learn about that. We'd talk about all the different things, how to put together the point of sale when we put all the barcodes on everything in the store and switched over because it was a long time ago. And they learned all these aspects. Now they're really little leaders who are able to, they have their own side businesses and they have very good jobs. They're going to school, they get good grades, but they have a level of experience that when they actually even started their first job, like my daughter, for instance, she started her first job at Starbucks, and she got a management like open and shut the doors at a young 18 years old. And she's like in charge of all these people that were older than her because she had the experience. And it was it's easy because they see you. So I think even though sometimes we feel as parents, oh my gosh, we're dragging our kids around, they are actually, that's like the best school ground you can ever have. And then if you can travel's incredible. I know I pulled my youngest to out of school. I traveled 7 years straight. I did the Tony Robbins group and leadership and all these things. And I had a blast. And I brought my youngest they did independent study. Stanford, they did Stanford for like 3 months in the summer. And the rest of the time they traveled the world. We went to India, we went Dubai, all over the world, all over the US as well, the UK. And it changed my kids for the better. They had a different understanding of the world language. They'd have to learn some of the languages, learn about the cultures, everything. And it was such a gift. So there are so many ways. If our children are home still right now, like my youngest two are back from college, it is a gift. They are going to learn so much and have this is like, I call it the universal pause instead of the pandemic, because it's time for us to reset and be home, cook beautiful meals when you're home together, teach your kids how to do these things, and they're going to learn your values. And when they go back to school, back out into the world, they have even more time with parents, and they're able to learn discernment so that they can put everything through their own value system and say, okay, not every teacher is going to align with your family values or cultural values or whatever it is. So they can have their own filter based on the family values. So that makes all the difference. It really does.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yes. I'd love to learn more about your restaurants now and what you're doing.
Oh, yes. So we, like I had mentioned, this was a boomerang career for me. So to be able to come back into the industry from with the arsenal of being the professional chef, but also coming in on the front end and to understand the front of the house and how all of that functions, because it's so different. It's different to be able to really be really creative in the kitchen and cook, and then come in and understand how to manage people and how to create expectations for your team, and also how to create this beautiful culture within the company. And we've been really fortunate because a lot of the team members that we have, they just love to work with us as a company. We are growing. Last year, we actually, one of our locations has grown by about 30%, which is quite unheard of for the industry. And then this year, obviously we closed. We had to. We're following all the guidelines. And then what we have done is, instead of shutting our doors completely and entirely, overnight we became a takeout and delivery restaurant. So overnight we had to figure things out. And when I would talk to our managers or anybody, they said it's like, by the end of the day, you have things figured out and you create this pretty picture through Etch-a-Sketch. And then, there's a new guideline. Would seem like that at the time in March, April, May, things were just changing so fast every day. So it's like somebody takes that Etch-a-Sketch and shakes it up, and then we come in the morning, we're having to start drawing again. But what we were able to do is we were able to really tap into the talent of our team. We have surveyed people, because we have over 100 employees, and we kept everybody employed. We have surveyed people, we spread them apart. Somebody was able to come in and just do some cleaning. Somebody was able to become delivery drivers, and somebody was able to do some marketing stuff and research, and we just pulled all of these talents together. And I'm so proud of them and how everybody came together with their talents and brought just the culture together, the culture of togetherness and mindfulness and happiness. And I could not be more proud of our team. And right now we're open and we're doing really, really well because everybody just, like I said, they pulled together and really focusing on fine-tuning the service and really exceeding the expectations of the guests so that we were able to actually fine-tune a lot of details.
Wow. That is the thing that when you're an entrepreneur, the one thing that stands out that you're able to stay afloat over the years is your willingness to roll up your sleeves and do the work. And I think a lot of people don't see all the work that comes behind that. When you own a business, when you're running a business, it's 14 hours, 16 hours. I don't know how many hours a day you must have done in March and April to get back on track really quickly. Few hours of sleep and you're back at it again, and making sure to work with your employees, which is wonderful. I think that's so important and it makes a big difference. I know that my employees, I had quite a few over the years. I had the 5 gift stores and I had over 100 kids that worked through a government training program I created with JEPTA at the time. So I would train these at-risk youth that had come out of foster care and difficult situations. Now they're adults and nobody wants to hire them. And so I had this training program. It was wonderful. And they learned every aspect of running the store. But the thing was, they were screened by me. And I knew, coming from my own situations as a kid in and out of the foster care system, I wanted to give back. So I knew, okay, which ones are real. And like, we're still family today. And I haven't had those stores open for many years now because at some point I decided, all right, things are online. I bought the buildings. They're all paid for. So what am I going to do? So I ended up just renting them out and making quite a bit, just about the same or more, and not having to do all the work. And then I started other businesses because I couldn't imagine not being involved. But our employees, if you start hiring correctly and build a community, you spend more time at work than at home. And so they do become an extension of your family. It's very important to stay in tune and in touch with what's going on and give them all a voice when you're, okay, we need to make a change. Our budgets, we need more money in this budget. What can we do? Sometimes it's somebody you just hired that's going to give you the best idea. So that makes a difference. When they feel like it's part of a family, everybody contributes. So it must have been that they were so thankful to be able to keep their jobs at a time where everybody was closing their businesses down.
Yes, it was so surprising that, a lot of the restaurants were deemed essential, and we're in Florida. So we were just so grateful. I mean, the creativity was through the roof of the team. We even created a video production that went viral on YouTube with over 100,000 views of this one video that we created for the team, and everybody had so much fun. So quite a few people came up to us, and it was very emotional because they just came up and said, thank you for keeping us going, thank you for paying us, and it was very emotional time, and we've gotten through it, and we're still getting through it and coming out through the losses, but I feel like we have come out so much stronger, and everybody's just, now we know that everybody has each other's back.
Wow, that's beautiful. Now let me ask you, since you have made some changes in how you're doing business, will you continue once things are back to 100% back to normal? Will you continue with some of the curbside service or delivery meals?
Oh, I believe we will, because we have implemented so many amazing things. So first of all, we've always had terrific communication with our audience via the newsletter. I've been personally writing it for the last 2 years. I think we have a newsletter number 100 coming out this Friday, actually. So just to have that constant connection with the audience, we've used our newsletter to poll them. What do you guys want? we understand that right now, everybody's struggling financially. So how do you feel about this and this? And if we add this budget-friendly options for lunch, we launched family meals. We've launched meal kits. And my husband filmed me with a camera with my phone and in the kitchen, putting together these meal kits as tutorials for people. So as they would purchase those meal kits, they would go to the website and they would know exactly how to put them together. We have done so much. Oh, so we took a room, an office that we had in one location, and it had a private entrance from the street, and we have converted it into a completely private dining room. So unless you have to go to the restroom where you would have to kind of exit into the main dining room, but if you bring your own wipes, bring your own sanitizer, you just come in through the side door and then you exit. So we are actually keeping that, and then being able to serve our guests better through takeout and delivery. I do believe that those modalities will stay with us for a very long time, especially based on the research that I'm looking in the industry.
Wow, that's great. And I think it makes a difference to have all the various options because people are so busy that, now imagine some of us have to bring our work home. So we're working from home and we've got the kids home. Some of them are very young. Some people have young children still, and they're homeschooling at home because the schools are closed in their state. And somehow they've got to prepare a meal and get the work done for the boss and deal with the kids and the dog and everything else that's going on. And it's just a lot, and you need a little break. So just to have that is such a gift. And the meal kits, I can imagine that would be a wonderful thing with the videos for a family to watch. Okay, let's do this together and have fun with that. And then they're learning how to prepare meals. Do you know how many young adults go to college and haven't prepared a meal in their life? It's interesting. And so it's something that's really important, whoever you are, that you need to know the basics. And sometimes we just don't have time to do those things or to make something really incredible and delicious. So that sounds fun. That's a whole other business almost of its own that grew out of a difficult situation. I love it.
Yes. I do believe that cooking is really important. I personally maintain a YouTube channel, and I just did a segment on 3 meals that you can make without a kitchen, without any cooking, out of Starbucks snack boxes. So
Great.
as a chef, of course, I would like to encourage people to cook, but if you can even just put some things together with a knife and a cutting board, that's okay. But there's just different energy that goes into the food when you put a lot of love into it, and that's something that we do. And I think that's one of the reasons for our success is because we have happy cooks and we have happy servers, and just our team is that much happier, and that translates into better service and just happier customers too.
Yes. Now, how are you dealing with the different dietary restrictions of our time? So for me, I'm celiac, so I'm gluten-free. I'm a pain. When I go out to eat, it's hello, I need to tell you something off the menu. I need this, but I can't have this. And I did it, and it's and then I have 2 options by the time I'm done. So are you working with special diets at all, or
First of all, I would never say that you're a pain. I have gotten through my own health journey, and I would go into the restaurant, and there was a period for I think about 8 or 9 weeks where I removed everything: corn, soy, gluten, dairy, peanuts, caffeine. There was just So going out with me was really not fun. So bringing that, being certified in nutrition, I'm actually a certified nutritional consultant. I was able to actually bring that piece into the restaurant industry as well. So what we have done is we have taken all of our menu, and I work with our chefs, and we have categorized everything through different dietary restrictions. And what we have is we have a barcode on our menu that people can scan, so that if they are gluten-free, if they're dairy-free, if they're vegan, if they're vegetarian, if they're looking for something under 500 calories, it actually brings them to the website with a search option. Wow. that guides them through how can they make a selection based on what their needs are. And we have extremely extensive gluten-free menu as well. Mm-hmm. And while being a pasta house, we're a New York style Clam Bar. We make all of our pasta in-house except for gluten-free, and a lot of seafood. So we at our weekly managers meeting and chef meetings, we're constantly discussing about how can we train our servers better, how can that communication be exactly with the kitchen. We actually had somebody come in about a week ago, and they were allergic to nuts, but they wanted to try pesto. So we made for them a nut-free pesto, because you still get those flavors. So just having that desire to create that positive experience for somebody who is taking that time to visit our restaurants, it's really important for us.
Yeah, that's my thing. When I do go out to eat, I make sure I go to a high quality restaurant, because most of them are going to know these things and they're able to accommodate. And so I can actually have something other than lettuce and chicken. You know what I mean? Like, that's like the standard. That's all you get. Sure. In any of the other restaurants. And so it's like, for me, it's worth it. And I feel like I'm eating whole foods, like wholesome. When you go to a good quality restaurant, what you're going to get is like you had that meal prepared at home for you, that it's the most incredible, authentic meal from whatever culture or place that it's from, the dish, and you're going to feel satisfied, but it's not going to be filler junk food. It's going to be real food. And so you can actually eat really healthy while you're out without damaging your diet or special dietary restrictions or dealing with allergy problems, as long as you just kind of screen for the right restaurants that have something that can help you. Yes.
Absolutely. And I would encourage the listeners to actually call the restaurant in advance, to ask them questions. Are you able to accommodate me?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I know. I have like a list in Beverly Hills of the restaurants I can go to, and there's quite a few in California that accommodate all these needs. And I have lists so that when I go out with friends, I'm like, hey, how about one of these places? Let's go there. And then I know I have my favorite dishes. I already know what to order, and it's just easier that way for me. Sure. Or else I get to watch everybody eat, and that's difficult. So that makes it fun. What suggestions do you have for other business owners this year as they're rebuilding and reinventing their business?
Oh, sure. Oh my gosh. I think the first one, the most important one, is to communicate with your audience. Like I had mentioned, we have done such a tremendous job of communicating with our guests. We have a good email list with emails going out once a week, and we ask them questions. We do surveys. What do you guys want? How is everybody doing? And then we communicate on social media. We have done all kinds of stuff. They know they can always call the store or email our managers. So I think that maintaining that communication, where when we send out the newsletter and people write us back, they know that there's somebody that's going to respond and answer their questions. I mean, we had a situation where there was, so we did a National Lobster Day just recently, and we did this crazy special so that we kind of celebrate a few days early. So, because usually the Lobster Day is on the 25th, but we did it on the 22nd. You get 2 lobster tails with 2 sides for $22, which is an insane deal. It was like, so I announced that in the newsletter, and somebody had sent us an email. Look, we are immune compromised. Is this something that can you accommodate us? Can you deliver, or can we come and pick up curbside. And I connected them with one of our general managers. We found out which location do they live closer to, and connected them with the GM, got their phone number, and got them accommodated with their request. And they sent us an email about how grateful they were about what have happened and how we've gone above and beyond. And which brings me to the next point, is how you can create that exceptional customer service through communication, and then you start building on that. You ask the questions, and then through understanding maybe the special needs that your customers may have, and think about, okay, well, do I deliver? But how can I do something extra? What else can I do special? I know we're always looking for the ways to improve. Even right now, I mean, a couple of days ago, I was trying to figure out maybe a cookie that we can give with a takeout meal, or what can we do? How can we constantly exceed the expectations, but not in the way that's expected? We like to surprise our guests with that. And I think the third one is to just, oh my gosh, try to stay positive, because what you and I had talked about in the beginning of this interview about how if you just freeze, if you step into that zone of thinking about how the sky is falling and everything is so difficult and everything is so challenging and all of these things that are coming at us, but if we just take that moment to pause and say, okay, I am okay. And right now, what can I do to inspire somebody, and just to be kind to somebody and make somebody's day? And through that kindness and through that positivity, I feel like we're able to pull ourselves out of our, little dips of mood or circumstances. And when we focus on just making somebody smile, making somebody feel like, oh, like they actually really, really care about me. And I feel like through that, everything else will just fall into place.
That is beautiful and so true. Our clients, they become our best friends. I mean, when I had my stores, I was invited to their weddings, my clients' weddings. I mean, it was a family and a community, and people kept coming back, and we're still friends all these years later. And it was a place for them to go. It wasn't just shopping. It was also a place where I had bands that would show up and play music on the weekend, and we would stay open. We were next to the popular restaurants in town. So all the other stores would close at 5 or 6 at night. I stayed open until 10 p.m. and people would finish eating. They'd stroll down the street. I'd have beautiful music playing or a live band on the weekend. They'd come in. I'd offer them tea or, a little something. And they'd come in and they'd walk around and they'd spend $30. But then they'd come back every weekend when they went to eat. It was like a tradition because there was nothing else to do in town. That was the beauty of that town. And the first store was in Montrose, California. So it was a beautiful, quiet, sleepy little town. And when the restaurants came in, they brought life to that community. And I saw that and I was like, I want to be right next door to the restaurants, because I knew that would be, they'd stay open late, the whole thing. And then of course, after like the first couple of years, the other stores realized, wait a minute, she's making as much as we make in the day at night. They were closed. So there's lots of things to be resourceful and change things up. But when you make it fun, whatever you're doing, make it fun, have fun with it. And it's an extension of your life. How many hours do you work a day? Think about it.
I had one day off since March.
Yes, exactly. I mean, what's a day of a weekend? What is a weekend? But when you love what you're doing, and it's in all you're doing, it's who you're being, and you're just having fun, everything shows up. Now, do you have a suggestion as a business leader for someone that's looking to find a new job now in order to, show up differently or whatever?
Well, if I mean, there's so many different ways to go about that. I've heard, listen to different life coaches give suggestions on, go into yourself and see what you're good at, and be treat yourself with a lot of compassion, but also there's so many online resources, and depending on the field that you're in, I feel like now is there's a lot of opportunity online. There's a lot of creative opportunities, and I feel like a lot of people are able to be a little bit more maybe discerning with the choices that they're making. But also a lot of companies, they're looking still for people who are tenacious, who are hardworking, who are creative, who are able to add value of themselves as a just a happy, positive team member. So I think that it's something that I know that we actually are expanding, and we are growing, and we are hiring as new team members. I think that, what's interesting, somebody was moving out of California to Florida, and they have reached out to me on LinkedIn and just like, hey, I'm coming into town, and I connected them with one of our managers. So I think that really finding places that you feel that are in alignment with your soul, research company values, really maybe look up the leadership, because right now it's very easy to find people on different social channels and see if the way that the companies present themselves online and in life, does that align with your personal values? I think that would be pretty important for people.
Yes, and if you can't, I believe if you cannot find the work, show up with your talent and volunteer, and people will see you. And they'll be like, wow, that's who I want on my team next. You will get hired when you show up. And when you do get a job, make sure to show up. I remember I would tell my employees, now this was years ago, I would say, hey, I have flex time here. If you need to be somewhere else, I want you to sign out and go be there, because I want people present with my clients. When you're serving my clients, that's like my extended family. And we need to give them 100% service. It has to be, you're going to be me. So, and I would say, so
Sure.
if you're not going to be able to show up like that, I'm okay with you not being here, because having one less person is better than having somebody that's not the right energy, that doesn't want to, because the clients feel that, you don't want somebody to say, I want to go home and this darn job, blah, blah, blah. If you have that, that's going to ruin the whole environment, and the other employees feel it. It's kind of like that not so good energy. And maybe they have a very valid reason. They need to be with their mom. They need to be with a loved one. I want them to go. And then show up when you can show up 100% and be on task and serve the clients. And we make it fun. I mean, we'd have dinners and celebrations and contests, and we'd have activities, like I called them field trips, because I had all the kids too. And we would go to the other stores and buy things and see look at how they served us. Wow. Did you like that? Or was that not so good? What was the difference? We just have a blast. So it was that. And very few people did ever call out unless they really had a reason. And then it was like, you've got it. You got to go be with your baby. Whoever needs something, no problem. And it was just one of those things that I never had an issue with not having people there, because they were present. And that's a gift. Even in relationships, be present. When you're present with your children, with your partner, spouse, significant other, even your elders, if you're caring for your parents right now, when you're present, you're the gift. It makes all the difference.
That's beautiful. Yes.
Yes. So I would love, we're coming to the end of our interview time. So I'd love for you to share how the audience can get in touch with you, maybe visit one of your restaurants, learn more about your books and other things that you're doing.
Oh, sure. Well, Sheila, thank you so much. This was such a wonderful time that I had with you on the show. And thanks for having me on. And I really loved all of your questions. I feel that even with about the teams and how the industry is working. So I know that everybody's going through the challenging times. So just want to encourage you to stay positive and lean on this show and on people in your life that that can create those pockets of positivity. And connect with me. I'm at very easy to find me. NataliaLevey.com is my website. At Natalia Levey on Instagram. My YouTube channel is Healthy Intent. Very easily approachable. Even though I'm shy in person. Like if we were to meet in person, I'm pretty shy. But I do respond to all the messages that come my way.
Well, that's beautiful. And I will be visiting when I go to Florida. I will visit one of your restaurants for sure.
I would love to have you.
All right. Thank you again for being on the show. And we'll be back after these messages. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
In the fall of 1991, Heather Garden, an athletic 27-year-old, experienced a strange sensation in her leg.
There was periods of times when I couldn't physically move myself.
Heather was diagnosed with secondary progressive multiple sclerosis. The medical system has no cure.
It was living this life of acceptance and resign yourself to the fact that, you have this disease and it's going to get worse.
Heather believes she was able to do something the medical system couldn't: cure herself. In the fall of 1991, Heather Garden, an athletic 27-year-old, experienced a strange sensation in her leg.
There was periods of times when I couldn't physically move myself.
Heather was diagnosed with secondary progressive multiple sclerosis. The medical system has no cure.
It was living this life of acceptance and resign yourself to the fact that, you have this disease and it's going to get worse.
Heather believes she was able to do something the medical system couldn't: cure herself.
All right, time to go to work. Stop and get their feet sharpened.
If you're just tuning in, welcome back to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you rebuild, reinvent, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and we are here today on NBC's KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. So I wanted to share with you that on November 16th, that is a Monday, November 16th, I will be having special guest Judith Morrow, who is the author of The Healing of Heather Garden. The Healing of Heather Garden is an award-winning... If you are just tuning in, this is the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you rebuild, reinvent, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and we are here today on NBC's KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. Today, we are focusing on wellness practices as the second part of this show. And I would love to share with you a very special guest that will be appearing on the show on November 16th. That is a Monday, November 16th, and she will be on my feature show between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock p.m. So it'll start at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 2 Central, and 3 Eastern time. And her name is Judith Morrow. She wrote a documentary film called The Healing of Heather Garden, and it is an incredible film of hope, inspiration, and shares a real life story of a lady named Heather Garden and her journey back to healing. She was diagnosed with MS, and the doctors kind of gave up on her. She wasn't even able to walk. And she took a journey of her own healing process and got back on track. So I think it is a very important movie to watch and enjoy during this year with all the different things that we are healing from as we get back on track. I want you to take a listen now to a little trailer that shares a little bit more about the movie. Okay, take a listen.
In the fall of 1991, Heather Garden, an athletic 27-year-old, experienced a strange sensation in her leg.
There was periods of times when I couldn't physically move myself.
Heather was diagnosed with secondary progressive multiple sclerosis. The medical system has no cure.
It was living this life of acceptance and resign yourself to the fact that, you have this disease and it's going to get worse.
Heather believes she was able to do something the medical system couldn't: cure herself.
All right, time to go to work. Stop and get this date sharpened.
So that was just a little preview of The Healing of Heather Garden by Judith Morrow. And again, Judith will be my special guest on the show on the afternoon feature hour, 1 p.m. Pacific time to Central, 3 Eastern, on the Sheila Mack Show, right here on NBC's KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. And she will be our special guest on Monday, November 16th. So I hope you have time to tune in to that show and keep listening to the daily morning commute show. So for now, I would like to continue to discuss wellness a little bit more by sharing a brief portion of my wellness chapter from my book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. All right, take a listen. All right, this is Sheila Mack, and I have special guest Judith Morrow. She is the award-winning film writer and director of the film The Healing of Heather Garden, and she's here to share a little bit more about this film. Go ahead. Hi, Judy.
Sheila, hi. Really great to be here. And I'm so excited to be able to share this film with people and a broader community. It's been incredibly beautiful to see the responses that I get when people actually see this film. It's just a half an hour, but it's thrilling and intense, and it takes you up and down, and it's quite uplifting and joyful. So beyond the pain, the severe pain that happens in the beginning of it, it's, for many people, it's given them hope that if Heather can do what she did, they can get themselves better too. And so for many people, it started them on a journey.
How beautiful. Yes, so if you want to watch The Healing of Heather Garden, you can go ahead and go to the website healingofheathergarden.com and view the movie there. All right, thank you, and we will be back after these messages. All right, if you are just tuning in, this is the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you rebuild, reinvent, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and we are here today on NBC's KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. So you just heard a short introduction from my dear friend Judith Morrow, and she is the author and director of the film The Healing of Heather Garden. I will have her on the show as a special featured guest in the near future, and we'll announce that show date as soon as we know it. So the next thing I'd like to share with you about is a portion of the chapter on lifestyle design from my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action. This book is available on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, and at www.sheilamac.com. This month is my birthday month, and I will be donating an extra book and some free courses to women with children in shelters across the United States and Canada. So grab a copy today and now take a listen for lifestyle design. Applying the Boots formula to lifestyle design. Using the Boots formula, you can go from being stuck saying yes to everyone to becoming the woman you want to be. Being. Designing your life starts with the first step. Who are you being? That is going to be different for everybody. And once you've done some assessments to find your temperament, talents, and truth, you can look at how you are different from anybody else. Who are you going to be when you show up now? Who do you need to be to truly be the best version of yourself? How are you going to live your essence and truth? You may have a whole life set up around something that is not true to who you are. Now that you are redesigning your life, whether this is your difficult situation or you're doing so after making it through another rock bottom situation, the gift is being able to set a new foundation, but that means knowing who you're going to be. Orientation. With this orientation, you need to say, this is where I am, and this is what I want. What do you want your life to look like in a year? What do you want it to look like in 5 years? Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but they underestimate what can be done in 5 years. This is a complete lifestyle redesign. You're not just switching one thing or dealing with one emergency situation. You're reconfiguring every system in your life. Order of operations. The first step in the order of operations is to figure out your first priority. If you could just do one thing today that would make everything else easier and make you feel really happy, what would that be? Giving yourself the time you need to think about and do this one thing will make you feel like you took care of yourself and your whole day will be better. Give yourself those little things, and they might be different each day. They build up, and when you consistently do the first thing you added, you can then add more things, and those build up too. Take it in order of priority. You may need to adjust your relationship or get out of a career that doesn't serve you. That takes time. You're not going to make this choice and then be in the exact life you desire the next day. There are steps in between. If you're not good at the steps, you may want to have somebody help you through that. You may be really great at seeing the vision, but you're not sure how to unravel all those pieces. Or you may be able to see little pieces, but you're not quite clear on the vision. You may need to give yourself a little bit more time than you think. If you make a 1-year plan and a 5-year plan, it may feel like nothing is changing at first. It's subtle. But once you start building, you get to a point where it gets easy. And the fact that you're not waiting to live your life on your terms is so beautiful and freeing and such a wonderful gift to yourself that you won't care if it does take 5 years to get the whole vision of what you want because you're already living it now. You're not giving that happiness to any other person, situation, or thing. It could be that you're in your career still, and you're going to switch over slowly. But how can you incorporate your true essence, talents, and truth in what you're doing today? Can you volunteer or start a side business so that you're actually having that happiness and fulfillment now instead of waiting for a future perfect moment in time? Thinking. Thinking is your mindset. It's setting your intention, and with that comes gratitude. If you're starting over and rebuilding, but your budget doesn't allow for the fancy house or new car that you want, or if you can't start your desired career tomorrow, how can you adjust your mindset and be grateful for what you do have? How can your way of thinking guide you to enjoy where you are now? Your environment matters. Not just the furniture and the decorations, but the energy that fills it. The energy positive or negative, comes from the people around you, how the objects you surround yourself with make you feel, and the words and images you expose yourself to on the radio, television, and internet. How are you setting up your home? How are you setting up your environment? If you have stress in your office or home, what can you do to shift away from that negative energy? I went to the nail salon, and the news was blaring on the TV, full of war and death and horrible things. I don't want to be bombarded by that negative energy when I'm trying to relax. I know these things happen. I read the news and keep up with current events. But when I'm trying to rejuvenate and take care of myself, I don't want to see those vivid pictures that leave me feeling drained. I have friends, though, who love the news and can't work without it on. Where can you create a sanctuary in your home? Sometimes just removing the television from your bedroom switches the whole energy. It could be as simple as moving things around to create a sacred space in your house where you can have that thinking time to draw, journal, or write your life vision. You can design an intentional lifestyle that supports your individual rhythms. Once you see it and think it, start acting as if you already have it. You're going to live your best life today in gratitude. You're going to stop waiting to live. As you design your life, you're already in a better mindset. Stepping up. Stepping up is your action step. You are redesigning your life, so you're going to be different. Maybe you recreate your image and go get a haircut, color your hair, or change the way you dress. Maybe you redecorate your house or office. Maybe you are still working at your old career, but you start doing volunteer work related to your passion. Whatever it is, just show up and do it. No waiting. Start small, but step into that new thing. My friend Ellen rode horses for many years, but stopped after she had children. I can't afford it, she told me. So we looked at how to make it happen. I asked her, where's the closest place you can go? What options do you have? After contacting... If you are just tuning in, this is the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you rebuild, reinvent, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and we are here today on NBC's KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. Today, we are focusing on healing and wellness practices. So one of the things that I've found is that when we've hit tough situations in life, for instance, we talked a little bit about losing a child, and when we hit these type of tough situations in life, there is an opportunity to grow and heal, honor the grieving process, and then to reinvent your life on your terms, creating new sacred ways to honor your loved one's memory, and then moving forward in new and different ways. So I would love to share with you the next thing, which is a small portion of the chapter in my latest best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And this chapter speaks about lifestyle redesign. All right, take a listen. Here we go. I'm giving you some homework. Grab a copy of my latest book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. That's right. If life has knocked you down, get ready to pick yourself back up and give your problems the boot. I look forward to hear about your read, and we'll see you next time. You may get a copy of Bootstraps and Bra Straps on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle, as well as at www.sheilamac.com.